But ultimately, we are looking to convert those sampling agreements into larger scale manufacturing agreements. And over the next 12 months, we expect to see progress on that front.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Ilika CEO Graeme Purdy. Graeme, very good to speak with you. You've just delivered your first commercial Stereax revenue, small but significant. What does crossing that threshold mean, and how quickly can those revenues scale?
Morning, Stephen. Thanks for the invitation. Great to be back. Yeah, Stereax has crossed the Rubicon, as they say. We are launching commercial product now. There is demand for the commercial grade cathode or LCO that we use in Stereax batteries. We are shipping that to our partners at Cirtec, and they are incorporating those electrodes into the batteries that they're making. So, it's a really significant point in the technology transfer and in the commercialization journey. And, we expect we'll build on the initial revenue that we flagged, that we recognized in the financial year that's just finished. And we should see multiples of that coming through in the year that we've just started.
Automotive validation, defense interest, Brompton e-bikes. You're finding applications for Goliath fast, but of course, EV is the big one. Take us through EV market dynamics, please.
Well, the EV market dynamics have been really interesting over the last 12 months. The global picture is a bit mixed. For instance, policy changes in the US and China have led to a slowdown in the rate of growth there. But actually, here in Europe, EV sales have been absolutely going gangbusters. In the EU, BEV, so battery electric vehicle sales, jumped 32.5% year on year, capturing just over 19% market share. Here in the UK, we saw another record year where we've got sustained growth of EV sales. So plenty to get excited about in terms of our Goliath roadmap and its delivery into the EV market.
Can you talk to us about that roadmap, Graeme?
Well, what we've seen actually in terms of an early intercept of that roadmap is interest in non-EV sectors. So you'll have seen some of the news flow around our collaboration with Brompton, and also feedback from some of the defense sector relevant safety testing that was carried out. These are opportunities where we should have an early MVP, minimum viable product, at the 10 ampere level, while we continue on our roadmap to larger capacity EV relevant pouch cells, towards the 50 amp hours that we've talked about previously. But early commercialization opportunities in these non-EV markets, and that'll be a theme that we'll talk about again, I'm sure.
Graeme, you have evaluation agreements with 27 companies. What needs to happen to convert those into purchase orders, and what's a realistic timeline?
Well, actually, they are converting into purchase orders right now because when these companies evaluate our batteries, they typically pay for them as part of that process. And so that does generate modest levels of revenue from the word go. But ultimately, we are looking to convert those sampling agreements into larger scale manufacturing agreements. And over the next 12 months, we expect to see progress on that front.
So cash at the end of the period, £5.3 million. How far does that take you?
Well, at our current level of activity, we expect that will sustain our continued investment in product development for a further 12 months. So our balance sheet remains robust at the end of the previous financial year.
Graeme, your full year 2026 results due out in July. What other milestones should your investors be watching out for?
Well, following on from that, we will be talking about how we transition Stereax from some of the electrode revenue generating activities at the moment through to the commencement of royalties coming via Cirtec. And then on the Goliath front, this whole story about an early MVP and commercialization of the 10 amp hour prototypes that we've already got in the bag, I think will excite investors.
Well, I hope you continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you so much for your time today, Graeme.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to have spoken again.
Ilika CEO Graeme Purdy.